Hello, everyone, and welcome to our podcast. My name is Teresa, and I am here with Yehuda. I'm in Prague. Yehuda is in Miami. And today's topic will be, I think, very useful for everyone who is high achiever, maybe in a field of business, but basically for everyone. And the topic is why do we have to rest, or is it recommended to rest, to pause in our everyday life? And what the sages have to say, or ancient Kabbalah, about the rest, what is behind it, and how can we use it in our everyday life for our benefit? Because maybe we forgot a little bit. We just want to go still on and on and on and to achieve. And maybe we don't have such a good results. And for me, I discovered it's always better to rest, to pause, and I am more effective. So that's the first question. Why do we need to pause and to rest every
Great
day or
question.
regularly? Yeah.
Thank you, Teresa. Thank you, everybody, for listening today. And this is a really great question. It's people are high achievers working in high tech, technology, businesses, dealing with a lot of stress, managing a lot of people. What are you going to do when you have so much to do and you even compensating, saying, no, I'm not going to sleep as much. Maybe I'm going to skip a meal and I should maybe work 7 days, pushing myself too hard, and then the burnout. So if you're one of those people that you're working so hard, you want to achieve so much, you feel greatly motivated, but then you tend to get sick, you tend to get anxious, you tend to even be depressed and lose the meaning, and maybe to even on the expense of your family members, friends, and you basically lose balance, and then you have to reactively shut down, and then you get sick for a couple of weeks, or some people even go into antidepressants and to something that is causing them to reduce the anxiety. They use medicine. They try all these different tricks, maybe even go to a retreat for a few days, go to a vacation, but then you go back to the stress. The pattern is still the same, the burnout pattern, especially when you have this phone and you take work with you everywhere you go. It's not like it used to be. So the amount of people that get anxiety disorder, stress, even cardiovascular diseases, heart attack in their 40s, crazy things that never happened before. They are
Mhm.
happening right now because of the high stress and bringing the work home, bringing the home, bringing the phone home, and this is crazy. The good news is that Kabbalah, we talk about the rest of the soul. The body needs rest, that's for sure. But also, many people don't consider that maybe my soul needs rest as well. What is the soul even? But how do I know that my soul needs rest? Is because when I feel overwhelmed and empty, and when I'm running on empty, it's not just the physical body. Many times it's the inner soul.
Mm-hmm. Well, and yeah, not to be controlled by our phone, our work, or whatever. So, um, yeah, because in Kabbalah we have actually a tool, and maybe actually it's a technology, sacred technology, a technology of Shabbat. So, if you can say more about this, because this is really maybe for a lot of people it will be like aha moment, that it's really good to make a stop at least once a week, I would say, but maybe also during the day. I do it like morning, in the middle of the day. I make a little pause just to distract me from everything, from the stress. So, what is Shabbat?
Right. Look, like at the rest, like you said, everybody needs to take some time to rest, sometimes to breathe, sometimes to eat. This is all true. Sometimes you do that and it's still not enough. Let's talk about the energy of Shabbat because Shabbat or Sabbath might call it. It seemed to be in traditionally the one day for the Jewish people to rest, right? Because the Jews believe in the Old Testament and that's how things are done. I believe, and I'm not Christian, I'm Jewish, that even in Christianity they believe in the Old Testament. Nevertheless, if you talk about the Bible, it says that the Creator created the world in 7 days. And in the seventh day, the Creator decided to rest. Now, two things don't make sense. How can you create the whole world in 7 days? There's no evidence, scientific evidence, that the world was created in 7 days. It doesn't even make sense. Now, the second thing that doesn't even make sense is that on the seventh day, God decided to rest. Now, if God is almighty, maybe God could create the world in a blink of an eye. God doesn't need 7 days even, right? If God is almighty, right, can make something out of nothing in a split second, right? Why does God need 7 days? Even though 7 days is it's very quick to create a whole world, right? But nevertheless, why God decided to rest? I mean, God has infinite battery. I don't think God needs to charge his batteries, right? Not according to the definition of God by any religion, right? God is a super powerful force. He's an infinite force, doesn't need rest. So why God decided to choose the seventh day to rest? And by the way, why not 8 days? Nobody's asking that question. Why not 20 days in a week? Oh, let's make the week shorter. No, some people will not like it, but let's make the weekend longer. Why not, right? Isn't it? So what is the point? If we learn Kabbalah, Kabbalah is dealing not just with the esoteric and the ideas of the supernal worlds and different parallel universe, which I strongly suggest that you read about it if you haven't heard about Kabbalah before. One of the things that Kabbalah says, and I'll say it in a very basic level, we live in a multi-dimensional world. In other words, the world that we see right now is only the physical reality, but there are actually 9 more dimensions. There are 7 lower dimensions and 3 upper dimensions. Look into it when you get a chance. Those 7 upper dimensions represent my process of elevation, elevating from the physical world, from the material world, from the stressful world into a higher level, a higher level. And when you go into that higher and higher level, you're able to tap into more blessings in your life. You're able to get more inner peace, more happiness, more clarity, guidance from the light, from the creator, from the universe. You're able to go into very high level. Now, Kabbalistically, we explain the higher you go, the closer you get to your potential and to manifestation in every area of your life. Now, that is one of the reasons. If you're a high achiever, don't just think about making temporary big amount of money and big amount of success, but think about how you can elevate to more blessings and prosperity and success in all areas of life. Success is not just money. I meet people with a lot of money, but they don't have great marriage. I meet people with a lot of money and great marriage, but they have health problems or problem with their children. It seems like it's never perfect. Is there a perfect? I don't think there is perfect, but there is a parallel universe right now by which you can be more happy, more successful, more prosperous with whatever it is that you want. And to go to that parallel universe, it will require some spiritual work. That's the basic understanding of Shabbat. Shabbat is the seventh. Kabbalistically, what do we explain? It takes 7 steps to create a complete, what we call a vessel, like a cup that can contain light, a vessel that can contain blessings. It takes 7 steps to always get the totality of the fulfillment. If you skip any step, you're not going to get the totality of the light. The Shabbat represent number 7 because that's the 7th day of the week. No, it's because that the 7th represent completion of vessel to connect to prosperity, blessings, light, health, and recharge. In fact, on the 7th day, there is a cosmic opening. The Creator created a cosmic opening. It's not a physical opening, it's a spiritual cosmic opening by which you can recharge your soul, your mind, and your body. What does that mean? That means that within these 24 hours, if you do the right thing and if you avoid doing the wrong things, you're able to draw inner peace, inspiration, creativity, opportunities for a whole week, if you know how to connect with it. And by the way, we always say it in Kabbalah, don't believe a word that I say. Give it a try. Try to disconnect from all worries. I close my phone for 24 hours, and it's a great blessing. You don't have to deal with all the news, what's wrong, what's right. You gotta let it go. Spend time with your family, spend time in relaxation, in prayer, in nourishment, recharge. The universe gives you the opportunity. Please, you can do it on Wednesday, on Monday, any day of the week, choose Sunday, whatever it is. It's not a religious concept, right? Before Islam was came to this world, before Christianity came into this world, even before Judaism came into this world, before Adam and Eve were born, the whole world in a spiritual blueprint, there was a spiritual blueprint, and that the seventh day will be a day of nourishment. It's a cosmic, it's universal. It has nothing to do with religion. Hold on to your religion, do whatever you want religiously. The seventh day, I challenge each one of you, take these 24 hours, time for yourself, time for the family, time for recharge, sleep extra, eat healthier food, spend time with loved ones, use this time for recreational activities, and mainly to connect with the universe, with the light, with the creator. This will be life changing. It changed my life. I became more peaceful, more inspired, more energetic, from being depressed to being happy, from being anxious to being more calm. It's a great opportunity.
Yes. For me, also, this was life changing
Oh
because
yes.
still my mind was saying it's a waste of time. It's a waste of time. You know, you have to complete this and this and this and a lot of tasks. And then I forced myself. And when I saw the results, it was like incredible. My next question is how can we bring this state of consciousness, like the state of completion, let's say, into everyday life after the Shabbat? Because that's the point. Once you can rest in peace and you know that feeling, how it feels, then you can incorporate it into everyday like working life. So how can we do it? Do you have any recommendation?
Can you help me and say this question in one sentence for me and for everybody?
Yes. How can we uh, inject the consciousness of Shabbat into our everyday life? For example, when we are at work, dealing with problems, talking to people, how can we use it practically?
All right, that's the good thing about Shabbat, that it's that what happens is you don't consciously use the energy of Shabbat during the week, but once you download the energy and light, it's like a gas station, right? You go to the gas station, you fill up a full tank in the beginning of the week, and then the whole week you don't think about filling up gas. You just know you have enough gas for the whole week. A beautiful thing about Shabbat, you don't need to think about it during the week. If you did the work for the 24 hours, if your tank is full, then the whole week will be different. You will not have to consciously think about it. You will feel energized. You will wake up with motivation. You will feel peace of mind. You will, whatever, it's going to affect your work. If you're in sales, you're going to make more sales. That's what happened with me. If you want to have a better relationship with your spouse, it will be way better because you will communicate better, because your energy will be in the right place. If you give the right energy, or you bring the right energy, the positive energy to everywhere you go, to every single thing you do, you're going to bring a lot of light and happiness and excitement and passion to everything you do. And you know what? The good news about it, it will be effortless because you're recharged. So it's like taking a
Mhm.
vacation every week. You just do it 24 hours and you don't even have to leave the house. You just simply focus on nourishment.
Yes, that's true. Good. Um, how can next question is how can we reduce stress and chaos in our mind and body?
Well, that's a great question. I would be a billionaire if I'll give you the exact formula. But let's say very simple. In Kabbalah, we explain we really underestimate the power of breathing because we're breathing. It's a nice thing to do, right? Nobody's thinking about I need to breathe right now. It's an automated thing. But let me tell you something. Conscious breathing, and I say conscious breathing with the right technique can help you achieve more inner peace. Now, in Kabbalah, breathing is the word neshima, breathing. The literal meaning of breath or breath is neshima. The word soul in Hebrew is neshama. So we have neshama, neshima. It's almost said the same, it's almost written the same, but that means that it has the same essence. Now,
Mhm.
how do you feed the body? Food, drink, rest, and so on. How do you feed the soul? One of the ways is conscious breathing. Neshima, breath, to your neshama, soul. Breath for the soul. You have to do it consciously. You can close your eyes, take a deep breath, even with your eyes open. But it's better with your eyes closed because you detach from the physicality and you're more connected with your essence, the soul, which is not physical. So you take a deep breath through the nose, better through the nose, and exhale through the mouth if you can. It's okay if you can. So if you do it with the intention and you close your eyes, you meditate to inhale white light and you exhale slowly, letting go of all the stress, that intentional breath with the intention, I want to nourish my soul with breath, that's what happens. Your soul is being nourished. That's why when a person, God forbid, they have to leave the world, when they stop breathing, they're no longer here. And that's a whole deep study about the connection between the soul and the body. But this breathing, conscious breathing, even one really deep breath during the week, stress, something's going on, you're driving, conscious breath for the soul, and exhale. If you're driving, don't close your eyes, just take a deep breath.
Yes, and we can use this so anytime because
Absolutely.
always we feel better when we are not that much in that survival, like always running mode, but in the relaxed
Right.
state.
Let me give you another hint why we breathe. There's a lot of it's a very deep study about this, and even physically, when you breathe properly, you
Mm.
basically listen. The reason why we're anxious is because our sympathetic system is
Yes.
going wild, and when you're breathing and you relax, your parasympathetic system is taking charge, so you are less in the fight or flight mode. That's for sure, no doubt about that. Here we are going deeper, is because the understanding is very clear. Your consciousness creates your reality. So if you breathe with the mindset to nourish my soul, your soul is getting nourished. Don't disregard your soul, because if you keep starving it, one day it's a collapse. So just making sure we all know that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the last question, to make it maybe more practical, this was one too, like the breathing, the breath. Do you have any other two or something different we can practically recommend um, to create more clarity, focus, and maybe space uh, in our everyday life? Do we even need the stress? Do we need it? Maybe,
Wow, look,
I don't know,
I,
maybe
you
for
know,
some people.
there was all research.
Just
There
kidding.
was all research if stress is affecting your health.
Uh-huh.
And they took two groups of people that believed that stress is affecting their health, and other
Uh-huh.
group of people that saw stress in a positive way. Those who saw stress in a negative way, they were more exposed to disease, cardiovascular diseases, heart attacks, and so on. And those who saw stress as a good thing, as a way to grow, it really did not affect their health and they were able to grow.
Mm-hmm.
So stress, Kabbalistically, stress is an opportunity for growth. Of course, not too much, right? And by the way, too little is also not good because you're in your comfort zone, you're not growing, then you also get stagnation and you get depressed. But it's really, really about Kabbalah. It's really talking about the balance, not too much to the right, not too much to the left. You gotta be centered.
A lot of
So
spiritual
hope that
people.
helps.
Sorry, just for interrupting, but this is, I think, a lot of people think, and then they tell me that when you don't feel like don't feel good, or you feel some resistance, that it means it's not meant for you, or don't go there, which definitely is not the true always. So what's the difference, or uh, what actually the resistance means?
Wow,
Because
well,
it can be
that's a
good,
whole
it can be
podcast.
good.
We should do a
Just
whole podcast about that, you know. We should, by the way. And well, I
yes.
would say no, it depends on the person. You know, we have to see what your what's the tendency of your personality. For some people, the tendency of their personality, be in your comfort zone, don't take any risks. And for them, it's about, okay, stretch, go out of your comfort zone to
Mhm.
go to your next level. But for some people, they over push themselves, they do too much, and for them it's to take a step back and let go. You don't have to be in control. If you have issues of control, you have to relinquish, let go of control. If you have issues of being too passive, you got to be more active. Everybody has their own issue. We call it in Kabbalah the tikkun, or your correction, your karma, the the depth of your purpose of why you're here. And everybody has their own tendency and personality, and you have to know it's a self-awareness. And then if you have self-awareness, you know what to do. You will have more clarity. And by the way, I always say, always strongly recommend find the Zohar, because the Zohar will give you all the knowledge and the tools that you need to get clarity. It's the meaning of life, but it's more than learning about the meaning of life. The Zohar, personally, the daily meditation with the Zohar gives me a lot of peace of mind and balance. So I really suggest for everybody to get this book.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I think that's it for today. Just to come back to the rest, and we also gave some practical tools like breathing, having rest on a regular basis. What else? Is there anything else? I think that all clarity and focus and maybe the space comes from this, from doing this.
Exactly. Yes, you're gonna have to practice this,
Yes.
learn about Shabbat, take the time off, take the time to breathe. And I know it sounds very simple, but it's a matter of practice.
Yeah, it sounds simple, but it's really life changing. Life changing,
It
I
is
would
totally
say.
life-changing, absolutely, 100%.
But you have to try. So I encourage everyone to try,
Absolutely.
even if you don't believe it, because I also didn't believe, but the result was surprising, surprising. So thank you everyone for listening today,
Thank you. Thank you, Teresa,
and
for
see
hosting.
you. Yeah, and see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye bye.